For the side of the chambers.
All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about another insurrection staged by woke activists at a state capitol because of legislation being passed that they don't like and Republicans putting Democrats in their place, or Republicans giving Democrats a taste of their own medicine, okay? Because a transgender Democrat from Montana has been silenced by the GOP after making a ridiculous statement on the House floor while debating a bill to ban sex change operations for minors, in which this transgender lawmaker made the claim, or basically wished, that Republicans see blood on their hands after they pray. Again, this pissed off a whole lot of Republicans because this person was falsely claiming or insinuated that people's lives are in danger because you're not allowing kids to get sex change operations, and just making a whole bunch of wild claims that we hear all the time from the Democrats. It really pissed me off and annoy me because basically these claims are designed to silence individuals from having a debate on legislation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play the comments from this individual that got them silenced. Take a look.
If you disallow the use of the medical care that is accepted by every major medical association, if you disallow that care and don't allow people to have access to that, the only therapy left is either A, meaningless, or B, conversion therapy, which is torture. I also want to point out, again, gender-affirming care is not Orwellian newspeak, as it says in this letter. It is accepted by every major medical association. I will also say what I said down in committee earlier. This bill tries to define male and female as binary. You could not legislate binary sex any more than you could legislate that the earth is flat. Intersex people exist, trans people exist, and this bill doesn't change that. Lastly, I would say that there were conversations at the end of this, at the very end of the bill, the letter that says life-altering medical procedures should wait until they are adults. What I will say is, if you are, by this bill and by what these amendments do, if you are forcing a trans child to go through puberty when they are trans, that is tantamount to torture. And this body should be ashamed. And if you vote yes on this amendment and yes on this bill, ooh, I love this. Does everyone want to stand?
Representative Zephyr, would you like to close?
Sorry, I'm yielding to the Majority Leader.
Majority Leader Vinton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I speak on behalf of our caucus. We will not be shamed by anyone in this chamber. We are better than that.
Representative Zephyr.
And the only thing I will say is if you vote yes on this bill, and yes on these amendments, I hope the next time there's an invocation, when you bow your heads in prayer, you see the blood on your hands.
Yeah, so as you can see there, this person made an extremely silly statement, okay, insinuating that it is torture to allow kids to not go through puberty, right? Something that they've been naturally doing since the beginning of humans, right? Kids going through puberty. It's torture not to let kids go through puberty. Absolutely insane statement that is made there. And this person topped it all off by basically hoping that Republican lawmakers, if they vote yes on this common sense legislation to protect kids, hope that they see blood in their hands when they lift their heads up after praying. Again, just absolutely disgusting comments, okay? Completely inappropriate for a legislative session, especially considering how this person really doesn't have the facts and evidence on their side here when it comes to this conversation about so-called gender-affirming care in medicine or whatever. So with that being said, Republicans moved to censure this politician and basically kept this politician from speaking. and we're going to read about it here. But first, I want to show you guys the protests and the backlash from the woke mob that showed up to protest the Republicans basically putting this woke politician in their proper place. And the woke activists end up getting arrested. Take a look.
Stop resisting.
I'm the sheriff.
Okay.
But MHP does have the contract, and they made the arrest, so I brought her down, and she's been exceptionally nice. Okay, sorry about that.
And I didn't catch your name.
My name's Hannah Payne.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And how many people have been arrested
Falls.
today?
What's that?
Do you know how many people have been arrested today?
I saw like 3 or 4. Did you see more?
I think at least 5.
Hannah, were you expecting something like this when you came down today?
I'm not sure what I was expecting. I'll just say that.
Well, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, that's a disappointment. Only 3 or 4 of them insurrectionists were arrested. Again, very disappointing. Okay, I was hoping for much better numbers than that. But let's read a little bit more here about what's going on. Protesters gathered outside the Montana State House on Monday over Republican legislative leaders' decision to prevent a transgender lawmaker from speaking after she told colleagues they would have blood on their hands if they banned gender-affirming medical care for trans youth. Zoe Zafar, a Montana state representative, hasn't been allowed to speak on the state house floor since Thursday because of their remarks. Zafar, a Missoula Democrat, was silenced and deliberately misgendered by some Republican lawmakers throughout last week. She was silenced for a second day on Friday as Republican colleagues refused to let him speak on the chamber's floor about a bill that would prevent minors from seeing you know what online. Now, here's my thoughts on this, okay? Now, I don't necessarily agree with the decision not to let the person speak. You should let them speak even if they say silly stuff. But let's be real. What do you think this person is going to say about minors viewing, stuff online? I'm just saying maybe it's best for this person not to speak because they're probably going to say something cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, insane, crazy about kids being able to view adult content online, considering how these people tend to support the most radical stuff. Okay, when it comes to this subject, maybe it's a good thing this person is being silenced. I'm just saying, even though I don't agree with it in principle, because I think that you shouldn't silence your political opponents just because they say crazy stuff. I'm not super upset about it because, I mean, at the end of the day, Democrats basically try to do the same thing to Republicans. Okay, this is what they do to Republicans. Republicans got to do it back to them. So, I mean, hey, from a principle perspective, I mean, I disagree with it, but hey, I got to remain neutral, right? I'm seeing what's happening in this country. Democrats have zero problems being authoritarian, okay? Like, look at AOC. AOC openly came out and said, yeah, we need to take Tucker Carlson off of TV. And let me be clear here, Tucker Carlson, right? Because a lot of you guys in the comment section have a problem with how I pronounce Tucker Carlson, okay? I feel like I'm saying Tucker Carlson, but I'll make sure I say it clearly for you guys. And then, lo and behold, dude is fired. Now, I don't think it had anything to do with what AOC said per se, but I'm just saying, these people, look at what they did to Marjorie Taylor Greene, look at what they do to their political opponents and the things that they say and how they punish their political opponents simply for saying things they disagree with. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to turn my head when Republicans get Democrats a taste of their own medicine. I'm just saying, this is the point we're at. We're at the point now where it's like, you know what? In order to beat these people, you got to fight fire with fire. At the end of the day, it is what it is. You got to get dirty with it, because Democrats are not afraid to get in the mud. They don't care. They'll lock you up. They'll silence you. They'll try to remove you from Congress for simply speaking. They don't care. They don't care. Zafir plans to keep trying to speak on the House floor Monday, despite Republican leaders insisting that won't happen until Zafir apologizes. Matt Reger, the House Speaker, and his Republican colleagues have indicated they have no plans to back down. Quote, there are 10,000 Montanans whose voice will not be heard because their representative will not be allowed to speak, and that makes me really sad, said Representative Connie Koch, another Minnesota Democrat, as proceedings opened on Monday afternoon. The standoff is a late example of emergent discussions around civility, decorum, and how to discuss political issues many perceive as life and death. I mean, well, this one right here, in my opinion, is not at that level. Okay, this is a complete exaggeration from the left, and I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And that's why, low-key, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to stay neutral. I disagree with it in principle, but I'm just going to stay neutral because they use these exaggerations. Oh, my life is in danger because you don't allow biological boys to compete against biological girls in sports. Oh, my life is in danger because you're not going to allow kids to get sex change operations. Oh, my life is in danger because you're not going to allow teachers to talk to kids about sex. I'm sick and tired of it, man. I'm sick and tired of these people always going to the extremes, pretending that somehow, some way they're in danger, that violence is being done towards them simply because legislation is being proposed that they don't like, or simply because somebody has an opinion that they don't like. Again, at the end of the day, if they want to use that to try to guilt trip the rest of this country into going along with their agenda, which has worked up until this point, hey, you know what? Again, I'm going to turn my head when they're silenced. I'm going to turn my head because if they're allowed to speak, they're going to spew all types of exaggerations and nonsense that are just not grounded in any type of reality or facts in order to guilt trip people into going along with their far left agenda. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. So again, I don't blame Republicans for doing what they got to do. I don't blame them, because when you make statements like that, again, people who are uneducated, they're just going to think that, oh, yeah, well, this person's right. You're harming kids if you don't let them get sex change operations. Again, it's ridiculous. Proponents of the ban on gender-affirming care see Zafir's remarks as unprecedented and personal in nature. She and her supporters say they accurately illustrate the stakes of the legislation under discussion, arguing that restricting gender-affirming care endangers trans youth, who many studies suggest suffer disproportionately from depression and other, possible fatal conditions. So, listen. In my opinion, there's no proof or evidence that so-called gender-affirming care is going to solve those problems. I think there's other issues that we should help these kids with in order to get them to 18 where they can do whatever they want to do with their bodies. Okay, that's how I feel about it. Katie Spence, a constituent of Zafir, who drove to the Capitol from Missoula on Monday, said the standoff was about censoring ideas, not decorum. Well, I mean, saying that you hope that after a politician lifts their head up from prayer that they see blood on their hands, that's not an idea. You're not spreading an idea. What you're doing is you're basically saying things that are spiteful, okay? It is kind of a personal attack at that point. Quote, she's been silenced because she spoke the truth about what these anti-trans bills are doing in Montana to trans youth, especially, she said, of Zafir. Zafir supporters gathered outside the state house on Monday, waving pride flags and chanting, "Let her speak." As proceedings began, they filled the state house gallery, and supplemental Montana Highway Patrol officers stood by to monitor developments. Zafir voted on various measures, but leadership pushed discussion of a bill Zafir requested to speak on to the end of the agenda. Last year, Zafir became the first openly trans woman elected to the Montana legislature, putting Zafir among a record number of trans lawmakers who began serving across the U.S. The dispute started last Tuesday when the House was debating the Republican Governor Greg Gianfort's proposed amendments to a measure banning gender-affirming care for minors. Zafir spoke up in reference to the body's opening prayer. Yeah, so again, just straight up mocking Republicans, mocking religion, mocking prayer to push a false agenda, okay? To push a false agenda. So yeah, this governor is probably going to sign this bill, which is a good thing. Okay, the left will definitely contest it in court. But again, like I said, although I disagree with not letting this person speak out of principle, I'm going to be neutral and turn my head because we all know what Democrats would do. We all know that Democrats, when it comes to them, there's nothing too extreme for them to do to try to silence their opponents, okay, to go after them. They'll try to lock you up. They're going to try to put you in jail, okay? They're trying to lock up the former president of the United States. They locked up January 6th prisoners. They tried to kick Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Congress for just simply speaking, right? Saying things before she even got into Congress. Democrats don't give a damn. So in my opinion, I don't blame Republicans for doing this because at the end of the day, when you are dealing with people who are making these crazy exaggerated statements to try to guilt people into a radical agenda, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, especially when your opponent has shown that, hey, they'll do whatever they can to stop you from speaking, okay? And we've gotten to the point in politics where you got to fight fire with fire. It is what it is. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.